30th lap, the Aston Martin of David Russell and the 35 of Dirk Leuenberger in the Dodge Viper. As we take a look at the number 94, working their way through the field again, trying to get back to the front. They were the early leader for a long time. Once again, mandatory 2 pit stops during this race. Whoops. And the driver change for the number 85 taking place. And it looks like they are refueling the number 85 as well. So Bruce Hamilton out of the car. It looks like Lynn St. James ready to go.
Of course, safety real important in SVRA as the refueler, of course, has his flame retardant clothing on, uniform, as well as a helmet.
And immediately standing by the driver, the original driver, Bruce Hamilton, there with fire extinguisher in hand should the unfortunate occur. Want to be sure and be prepared. It's not just a Boy Scout thing.
Race cars get hot, and hot race cars and fuel can cause issues. Anybody who's worked in the pits as a crew member or whatever realize that things can change real quickly.
Just like the running order, as the 05 of Peter McLaughlin and David Hand, with David Hand driving, have now taken over that front spot from the 85 of Bruce Hamilton and Lynn St. James. And now with the cars stationary for this second pit stop, it may be they'll drop back to third as the 94 of John and Ryan Harold are working the same lap. And into the pits comes the 82 of Ernest Wilding for a second pit stop. 47 is Glenn Jividan Jr., also on pit road. As we watch your leader, the 05, David Hand, in the march. Clock ticking away, about 27 minutes remaining. The 05, the 94, the 85, your front three. 85 in the pits. Same goes for 82, Ernest Wilding in fourth at the moment. And it looks like the 94 of John and Ryan Harold behind the wheel, are closing on your leader. Trying to get that lap back.
I'd like to thank our friends at Racing Radials, the official two-way provider of the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association. Make sure you visit them on the web at racingradials.com.
We're going to visit with the vintage motorcycles when this race is over right now. Got a few minutes left. Vintage bikes, you're going to be up next. Vintage motorcycles are next. Have a number of cars on pit road waiting for them to come out, and it should be the not too distant future before they rejoin. Looks like the crew is still working on that Camaro, the 55A, and just about getting buttoned up now with Lynn St. James behind the wheel, the number 85 of Bruce Hamilton and Lynn St. James. Hamilton out of the car, St. James is in. They've refueled it. Spraying the secret sauce in through the air inlet to get it started and fired up. And Lynn is ready to go. Lynn St. James behind the wheel, new Troy Lee helmet on. And she has been set for the weekend. She's been looking forward to this for a long time, to come back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Brickyard Vintage Racing Invitational, presented by Jaguar Land Rover. As the 05 comes in, the 05 of David Hand coming in for their second pit stop. They are the lead car. However, the 94 of John and Ryan Harold are on track, and they were just one lap back. St. James out of pit road and on the racetrack in the number 85 Dallara Infinity. Some refueling going on for the 05 March. Oh, that is a cool helmet. This is the first time I've seen it. It's got the head of a tiger on it. was talking to Lynn earlier in the week, and her comment was, I've wanted a Troy Lee Designs helmet for so long. I finally got one. It's going to be here this week. She was really excited about it, and I can see why now. Very cool.
Just a little bit of moisture on the inside of the front straightaway towards the wall, pit side, but not causing any issues for the competitors in this Enduro.
And we look at other points around the racetrack, and it is indeed a very dry track. Wasn't the way we started at 8 o'clock this morning, but it's surely gotten to that point now. And we've got a bit of sunshine threatening to show up. Some high clouds up there.
Temperature currently 75 degrees.
That's comfortable. I do 75 very well. I don't do 95 with 100% humidity very well.
Care to guess a track temperature?
85.
I was thinking 89 with the sun out.
And the number 94 coming back into the pits now. That's the John Harold entry. And at this point, they've inherited the lead on pit road. And that'll last probably long enough until the 05 comes by one more time. So Lynn working at getting up to speed as she gets a couple laps behind the wheel of the Dallara Infinity, car number 85. Lynn St. James driving with Cindy Cloud yesterday in the Pro-Am in a Mustang. '47B, Phil Mullachek in the Ford GT40. Currently running in 7th. And blasting down the straightaway. Being trailed by the number 82, that's Ernest Wilding in the BMW M3. And we have another car returning to the racetrack from their pit stop. I believe that's the 05 of David Hand and Peter McLaughlin, just now re-entering the track at turn 1. The 35 of Leuenberger making his way out onto the racetrack again in that yellow and blue Dodge Viper. Roughly 15 minutes remaining. And it is the 05 running in second place, the 85 running in third, and your leader, car number 94, John and Ryan Harold. The 05, Peter McLaughlin and David Hand. Cars required to make a minimum of 2 pit stops, and it looks like they've all managed to do that. The last one coming in just a few moments ago, and that was the 82 of Ernest Wilding. Things are tightening up a bit here in the waning stages of this race. Your leader, the 05 of David Hand and Peter McLaughlin, working their 42nd lap, while the car in second place, the 94 of John and Ryan Harold, working their 41st lap. In third, the 85 of Hamilton and St. James, also working their 41st lap. And the cars are running together on the racetrack. You see the 05 of McLaughlin and Hand right behind him, St. James and Hamilton in the Dallara. And St. James looking to make a move to the inside and pick up that spot. She gets the job done as they come around turn 11 into 12. Headed to 13 and 14, and we'll be back out on the front straight. So now your second and third cars, the 94 and the 85, both on the same lap. As St. James has put the 05, regained a lap there by passing the lead car. Just has to stretch it out a bit now over this last 12 minutes.
Driver change done in the 82 as the BMW moves back onto the track.
They had an interesting strategy. They knew they had to make the two pit stops. They made them both close together. I think they came in, stopped for 5 minutes, went out, made maybe 2 laps, maybe even 1, I'm not sure, and came back and did it again with a little refueling and getting set up for the run to the finish. And that'd be the number 82 of Ernest Wilding. It's the 05, though, of McLaughlin in hand that leads this race, with the 94 of John and Ryan Harold in second. We're waiting to see the number 94 come by and see what the gap is between first and second. As McLaughlin in hand, your leader in the 05, working their 44th lap. John and Ryan Harold in the number 94 have yet to cross the start line, but here they come. Nope, that's the Viper of Dirk Leuenberger. We're still waiting to see the John and Ryan Harold number 94. Here they come, lights on. They cross the yard of bricks, and they've got 55 seconds to make up. 55 seconds in 10 minutes if they hope to recapture the lead. They had the lead for a long time early in this race, and then pit stops started happening, and drivers got more used to the track. The track dried out, and things changed, but they do in enduro racing, and that's what's happened here. Hard luck to the hard luck award to the 55A of Briggs and Umphreys, as they met an immovable object with that Camaro and tagged both the front end and the back end of that car. Hope they can get it back out on the racetrack. Waning stages of this 90-minute endurance race. And at this time, what better time than to check in with James Palacci from NetJets with our morning weather forecast, and hopefully it's good news.
Good morning, John. It looks like it'll be a little bit cooler today, highs up in the low 80s. We do have a chance of a passing thunderstorm towards the middle or late afternoon, and we'll see winds up to 15 knots out of the west-southwest today.
Well, okay, and it looks like the winds now are coming from the west, maybe even the southwest. Can see the windsock on top of the scoring pylon, and it's fluctuating a little bit, but not much. It looks pretty steady and pretty light for that matter. So whatever we can do to slow this down and keep things dry, I'm sure Tony Perella will make a phone call and see about getting this weather straightened out. And this isn't the weather off the back page of the newspaper or the weather guesser from the TV station. This is from an actual meteorologist. and he or she.
He today. We have a 9-member world-class meteorology team. Believe it or not, a couple of the sports teams actually use us as their inside scoop before the game day to understand what the weather will be like, whether it's for an NFL game or whatnot. So it's a very capable team that helps direct about 700 airplanes around the world, and straight from their lips to the racers' ears.
Oh, all right. And NetJets, once again, your private aviation provider and a partner with the SVRA for our 2017 race season, and capable of getting you from point A to point B in very short order should you need their services. And they have some amazing programs. You don't have to buy a plane. You don't have to pay to put it in a hangar or pay for jet fuel. They've got it's kind of like a ride-sharing program almost.
Well, you buy what you need, right? You don't have to buy any more than you need, and you can buy exactly what you need, whether it's a light jet for this flight or a large cabin airplane to go to Europe or a mid-size airplane to go coast to coast. It actually would make the perfect Father's Day gift. And I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all the fathers out there, all the race car drivers, pit crew, and everybody a very happy Father's Day.
I'll take that because I'm a dad. I want to mention that NetJets, over 700 aircraft, over 3,000 pilots, over 400 countries, and what is it, 150 airports or something? No,
Well,
it'd have
actually,
to be more than that if there's 400 countries
exactly,
that you guys fly to.
we're accessing over 4,000 airports. So a lot of times,
4,000?
Yeah, your trips can start a lot closer to home, and they can certainly land a lot closer to the destination. I think that the next stop on the SVRA race series over in mid-Ohio is an excellent example. Instead of flying into Columbus, Ohio, which is coincidentally the headquarters for NetJets operations, you could fly about 20 minutes away from the race and save yourself about an hour's worth of driving.
And time is money, of course. And if you need to get on an aircraft, I would surely recommend that you stop by the NetJets booth. You guys are downstairs in the garage area, right?
We are. We're in the Formula F1, the former Formula F1 garages. We're next to Harley Davidson, and we'd love to have that conversation.
Well, all right. We've got the weather forecast. We're hoping for better than what we heard, but a high temperature of 83 or so. That's going to be quite comfortable. We hope Mother Nature smiles on Indianapolis Motor Speedway today, and that we keep things dry or at least manageable for the rest of the day as the Enduro winds down. Less than 5 minutes remaining. Your front runner at the moment, the 05 of Peter McLaughlin and David Hand, they're working their 48th lap. The 94 of John and Ryan Harold, they're working their 47th lap, but we should see them come around shortly and see what the gap was. The last time that I looked at our confuser screen, it said they were about 57 seconds back. And we'll see what that time lapse is.
And we have an issue on the track here. It looks like the GT40 of Phil Malnochek is pulled off into the kiddie gravel.
Uh-oh. Well, that's not the way we want to finish.
No, and it looks like no damage to the bodywork, but unfortunately, it looks like that car was leaking something before it went off the track.
And it looks like they're preparing the double yellow flag, giving us a full course caution, probably going to light the Jaguar pace car up. Yep, we do have a double yellow situation on the racetrack, and that is for the 47B of Phil Malnochek in the Ford GT40.
That car, of course, is you could call it an unsafe location on the track. So we'll want to move that car into a safe area.
And I hope they can get that done quickly, although I'm going to be surprised. I have a feeling, a very unsettling feeling, that this race will end under the yellow, as we're at 1 hour, 27 minutes, 32 seconds at the present time. And I'm not sure they can get that incident cleared in time to give us much green flag racing. So currently your leader, the 05 of McLaughlin and Hand, currently showing up there on the big screen. There's the car that's beached, the 47B of Phil Mulichek. And they do have a board up that they're showing. And I have a feeling that could be the last lap board. It's either that or, no speculation here. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now. Yep, it looks like they're going to get the last lap board this time around. And yes, the pace car is making it out onto the track. Lights are flashing and pulling out onto the track just ahead of, or will it be just behind? Just ahead of the 82 of Ernest Wilding and the 85 of Lynn St. James, with the 05 in there as well, the 05 of McLaughlin and Hand. The pace car taking a slow ride around the track, as I'm sure the emergency vehicles are out there tending to Phil Mulichek's Ford GT40. And they don't want to impede what's going on with the safety workers, so they're definitely touring at a slow rate of speed, and they're just coming up to the GT40 now.
Just to reiterate for those who may not be in front of the video board, looks like it's for a mechanical issue at this point. And because of the car's location, they had to go with the double yellow.
And it looks like they let the 85 of Lynn St. James go around the pace car, more than likely to be able to keep that car cool, as it doesn't do very well trying to run at those low speeds that the pace car was going. And I imagine that car is going to come into the pits when they get the opportunity. The pit entrance right over by turn 13. Our next event on the racetrack is the vintage motorcycles. Vintage motorcycles to pre-grid, please. Vintage bikes to pre-grid. And both Wilding and St. James continuing around the track. And the Jaguar pace car gets the checkered flag, followed by the 05 of Peter McLaughlin and David Hand. The 94 of John and Ryan Harold finishing in second, both with 50 laps completed. The 85 of Bruce Hamilton and Lynn St. James yet to come around.
Nice even number.
Oh, yes. So we're getting reports that the track looks clean over where the incident happened with the Ford GT40 of Mullichek. And that car in the gravel, they'll have to pull that out gently. Vintage motorcycles up next, followed by our feature race, the second featured race for groups 1, 3, and 4. So Hamilton St. James finishing with 50 laps complete in third. The 2As, Steve Davison and David Russell, in the Aston Martin finishing fourth, followed by the 35 of Dirk Leuenberger in the Viper. Glenn Gividen Jr. in the number 47, and that was the car beer. The 82 of Ernest Wilding in the BMW M3. Phil Mullichek and the Camaro of Bob Briggs and Shaw Humphreys complete the grid that started this event. And once again, coming up, the motorcycles, vintage bikes, on track momentarily.
Well, 3 cars finishing on the lead lap on a eclectic field like that. That's a pretty competitive race.
And we showed the second place car just 2.8 seconds back. And the Hamilton St. James entry on the lead lap, but 1 minute and 16 seconds in arrears. Your fastest race lap during the Enduro set by Bruce Hamilton, a 1 minute 25.9 second effort back on lap number 18. Second quick, a 28.4 from your winning duo of McLaughlin and Hand. That was set on lap 22. And headed to the winner's circle, the 05 March of Peter McLaughlin and David Hand. The Aston Martin of Steve Davison, David Russell also pulling in. They are the GT4 winner. The 85 of Lynn St. James and Bruce Hamilton in the F1 class. And also the 94, the B Sports Racer of John and Ryan Harold.